keep you updated, but let's just cross over to Laikipia County, which is kicking off an ambitious campaign to revive tourism in the region, which has been ravaged by the coronavirus pandemic, with hotel bookings and visitations at a record low. For the last 2 decades, Laikipia County has been banking on tourism to promote social-economic development in the county. It is home to the highest concentration of endangered species in the country. And with Mount Kenya as the backdrop, Laikipia harbors some of the best landscapes locally. Now, Laikipia's tourism sector employs approximately 1,300 people and generates about 196 million Kenya shillings per year in wage earnings, according to 2013 statistics. We now want to link up with Richard Vine, who's the Managing Director of Ol Pejeta Conservancy, just in a recap of the Twende Nanyuki project. Richard, many thanks for joining us. It would be interesting to start off with the impact of COVID-19 in Laikipia and specifically Nanyuki area. What has been the impact so far?
Hi, Jesse. It's been, there's no other word for it but catastrophic. We've seen an almost complete demise in international tourism, which is an important part of our business. And we've done everything possible across our tourism sector over the past few years to maximize local Kenyan tourism. In fact, 60% of the people who come to Ol Pejeta Conservancy are local Kenyans. But unfortunately, whilst it's incredibly welcome in this time of COVID, the international market pays us much more money to come. So we're missing that terribly, and it is creating financial stress in the extreme.
Now, that's quite challenging, but the government was also quite adamant in providing sort of help to hotels during this coronavirus pandemic. 3 billion bailout in terms of money released to hotels that were hardly hit by COVID-19. How instrumental has this been? Has it played a part in revamping the tourism industry in Laikipia and Nanyuki?
You know, I think the government has definitely stepped up to the plate and tried to support the industry across Kenya, but it's a big industry, as you will know. Whilst we haven't received any direct support in terms of help for our hotels, we have most definitely started to receive support for ranger salaries and in particular, but also in other areas. So the government's definitely trying to step up to the plate, but as we all know, the government has many issues on its own plate that it has to deal with. So there is a limit to what the government can do. And I think the figures you gave a little bit earlier were probably slightly dated. I think you said 2013. The truth is that the tourism turnover from a financial perspective in Laikipia is far greater than the figures you gave. And the number of people employed across Laikipia in that sector is far higher. So unfortunately, we're beginning to see catastrophic closures of hotels, or at least temporary closures, meaning that people are laid off or made redundant or sent on unpaid leave or subject to massive salary cuts. And there's really no way that we can avoid that until such time as the planet starts to recover from the impacts of COVID-19.
All right. I mean, all stakeholders have to pull their weight in one way or the other, not just the national government, the county government, private stakeholders as well. What is the progress or the steps taken so far to improve the situation as it is, bearing in mind the curve is flattening? We expect or anticipate a kick in the tourism sector anytime from now, or at least an improvement. What are the steps taken so far?
Well, I mean, some of the initiatives such as Twende Laikipia are incredibly welcome and very proactive, and the county government of Laikipia and all other stakeholders are to be hugely congratulated for it. Right now, we need to concentrate on local tourism, on Kenyan tourism. As I've said, it doesn't replace international tourism from a financial perspective, but it's a lifeline, and you know, it's definitely incredibly important for us, and it always has been. From an international tourism perspective, unfortunately, we don't really see a recovery until the middle of next year, at the very earliest. We feel that it will depend upon the development of a vaccine and the confidence in the minds of the international traveling public to come to a place like Kenya. They need to know that if they come, it's not going to result in them catching COVID, or at least if they do catch COVID, they're not going to be put into some quarantine for for 14 days, which they have to pay for. We have to make Kenya as attractive as we possibly can as the industry recovers. And that's going to take an effort, as you rightly point out, across all sectors: national government, county government, private sector, and et cetera, et cetera. We all have a role to play, and we should all be considering this as a startup industry. That's how bad it's got. But of course, we can recover.
Well, definitely, we must recover. Richard Vine, many thanks for your input right here. And I'm sure Twende Nanyuki is one of the ways we can make Kenya attractive as a destination. Many thanks for your input. Now, we, in our continuous support in terms of the tourism industry, make sure you tune in to KTN News at around 3 p.m. It'll all be about revamping tourism, and not just in Nanyuki, but around the world as well, or in the country. We'll definitely air that at around 3 p.m. More details to follow.